All right, people. Let's. Why don't you're welcome to have a seat. This will take a few minutes, so you're welcome to sit down or stay standing, however you prefer. Okay. But we have a burning question to discuss, and we have a very important Van Morrison song to sing. We have pressing matters today. Pressing spiritual matters. We got to work quickly here.
Good.
You got all the Van Morrison? Okay. So hold off on that for a minute. So we spoke on Sunday and then yesterday again about this whole question of communication, listening, taking in, receiving messages from the sky and the ancestors and all kinds of things like that. And we're starting our transition at this moment now that we're kind of feeling the lower edges of Rosh Hashanah. We're transitioning also into communications that come not to us, but from us outwards, which is a big piece of this. Right, and actually, this next week up until Yom Kippur, it's a lot about that because we're told very clearly that we really need to go and apologize to people who we have wronged. Right, that's if there were one thing that this holiday season were about, it's about us figuring out who we wronged and going and owning up to it. So that has to do with our communication outwards. But our communication outwards begins inside. It begins with our communication with ourselves. And so that's the question that I would like to ask you, and it's a question that I've been asking mostly younger people for the last at least 10 years, if not more, around this time of year of tshuva, of this time of tshuva, teshuvah. You guys can say that word, teshuvah. Tshuva, which means coming home, returning to the answer, or maybe finding a question. Yeah, but tshuva, we're returning. So here's the question that I like to pose to young people in particular, and I love doing it in the presence of older people because everybody's going to have what to say about this, I think. The question is this, and I know some of us here believe in God and some of us don't, but I'm sure there's a way for people who the word God doesn't really mean all that much for to relate to this question as well. Okay, so the question is this. What's the difference, as you listening, this question is for you guys, yeah? What's the difference between talking to yourself and talking to God? Or another way to think about it is, what's the difference between thinking, that's the difference, between thinking and praying? What's the difference between thinking and praying, or between talking to yourself and talking to God? Yes, Ezzy.
Saying things to God, not as things to yourself that you're not sure how to say this.
What a beautiful answer. Thank you, Ezzy. Did you guys all hear that? The difference, as he's saying, the difference is that when you talk to yourself, you're not really concerned with who's listening. And when you talk to God, there's some other element out there that might be listening. That when we do that exercise, we at least imagine that someone is listening, and sometimes we really know someone is listening. Yes. What's your name? Oscar, of course. Right? Please. Beautiful. Thank you, Oscar. Yeah. So Oscar's saying, when you talk to yourself, really there's only one opinion in the house. Right? But when you're talking to God, you will be confronted with some other ways to look at it, with some other opinion. Yeah. Beautiful. Anyone else? You don't have to, any age can answer that.
Similarities.
Please. Yeah. Right. You mean when you talk both to God and to yourself? We're constantly right. I think there are a lot. Yeah. For me, there's more overlap than there is differences, personally. But that's a personal thing. Yes. Beautiful. Okay. So, right. So, sorry, your name? Anna. Anna says that one is a kind of inward looking, and the other is an outward looking, and those are two very different attitudes, and they create different things. And that for Anna, when she's talking outward, it tends to be the intention tends to be more present or clearer. Yeah, was it Ronan who had his hand up? Yeah, sorry, we'll get to you in a second, Ori. Ronan, what's the difference between talking to yourself and talking to God? Oh. Well, there's a great question. Ronan asked why we're talking about God. That's a great question. Why are we talking about God? Ronan wants to know. Yeah, Ronan, this time of year for Jewish people is a time when we reflect a lot on why we're alive and what we want to do with our lives. And God is another way to say that, I would say. Does that kind of make sense? Cool. Great. Yeah, Ori had her hand up. Yeah. Beautiful. Ori says, when we talk to ourselves, we're a lot more critical. But when we talk to the universe, there's a lot of positivity and understanding and compassion coming our way. Beautiful. Yes? I wish you could all have heard that because it was a poetic and beautiful answer that I can't quite repeat. But it started with, I'd like to think that thoughts, where thoughts come from, is a mysterious, beautiful thing. And I think that's a very important, I think that's an important thing to say in this context. Yes, sorry, hold on. Barbara had something to say that we'll get back to you.
Yeah, I think when I talk to myself, I'm usually making statements, reporting on things or declaring things. And when I talk to God, I'm more asking questions that, I'm, asking, questions that are not easily answered.
So it's a different conversation.
Right.
The nature of the conversation is different. In one, it's kind of taking stock of something a little bit more clear almost, and in another, it's the bigger questions. Yeah, that's a nice answer. Yeah, Izzy.
Well, I just wanted to say what you said, but when I talk to myself, sometimes my mind just walks. Sometimes, like, something will pop up in my mind, and I'm thinking about something else. But when you're talking to God, like, you're like, when you're thinking about something, and you're not thinking about anything else.
Okay, as he says, adds, I should say, that when he's talking to himself, he tends to get distracted, and he starts going in other directions. But when he feels like he's talking to God, there's less distraction. It's a place of, it's like in meditation, in certain moments you get to a place of quiet, and you're just there. So I think that's something like what Ezzy is trying to say here.
When I talk to myself, it's like my other self is saying, "It's you again." Haven't you talked enough? And when I talk to God, He says, "Yeah, you can talk to me anytime." The only thing is, I have to hear you.
Thank you. Yes, Audrey.
I think of it as an energetic force when you're speaking out loud. And you send an energetic force into the universe. You don't know where it's going to bounce off, what's going to happen, how it's going to transform. But as long as there's that daily prayer, people get healed. We've seen this happen. And we don't know how that happens. How I can pray here in New York, somebody in California might get healed, but something gets put into place. It's beyond our comprehension.
Beautiful. Audrey's saying that talking to God or putting it out there has unintended and unknown things that might come of it. We don't know what's going to happen. She talked about healing prayers, which might heal somebody way off over in somewhere else. Beautiful. So thank you. I encourage you all to continue these conversations with yourselves, with God, and with one another. We have one more? Oh, yes. We're going to sing some Van Morrison now. The words are coming out. There's talk of a foghorn in this, and of the foghorn calling us back. And there's talk of going into the mystic. So that's, I think, where we're at this week. And we'll sing the song, and then we'll take one more intention.
enough, we'll.
There's enough. Raise your hand if you didn't get one. Thank you. Thank you, boys. Thank you, helpers.
Over there.
We were born for the wind, also younger than the sun. Here the mighty boat was one, and we sailed into the Mississippi. Art thou here to satisfy? Smell the sea and feel the side. Let your soul and spirit fly into the mystic. When that foghorn blows, I will come home. When that foghorn blows, I want to hear it. I don't have to fear it. And I want to rock your gypsy soul, just like the way back in the days of old. And magnificently we will float into the mist. When that foghorn blows, you know I'll be coming home. And that when that foghorn whistle blows, I've got to hear it. I don't have to fear it. And I want to rock your gypsy soul, just like the way back in the days of old. And together we will float into the mystic. Into the mystic.
Shortly, I'm going to invite Lizzie to explain a little bit what we're about to do with this ritual of casting away things into the river. But before that, I've been asked to go over one more time, Lizzie and I, our assignment that we're giving you for these next 10 days that I laid out on Sunday night. So here's your assignment one more time, okay? What I'm asking you to do is to find a line of poetry or prose or journalism, anything, any line, written line that stirs you, that moves you, that means something deep to you, to spend some time with it over a few days and see what it feels like, yeah? And then to share it with somebody, to choose one person and share that line with them, and see if you can express to that person what this line does to you. Okay? Now, you're going to bring these lines back on Yom Kippur, and on Yom Kippur in the morning, we're going to bring all these lines together, and there's going to be a miraculous building of a tower that we're going to build with the help of these lines of poetry and prose and beauty and thoughtfulness that you guys will all bring. Okay, but we're gonna need your lines, is what I'm trying to say. Okay? And with that, I'd like to invite Lizzie Byrne de Geer, our scholar in residence.
be farther from them.
That's okay.
We'll figure it out.
I'm just gonna stay here because the mic for the Zoom is here.
Perfect, okay. And I also, in terms of, I just want to say out loud again what we had said on Sunday, which was another part of the assignment, was to embrace listening as if we don't know how to do it. And to really just be curious about the sacred act of listening. So it's a little ironic that I'm going to be telling folks about how to do Tashlich because, as I mentioned when we gathered on Sunday, this really is my first year. I'm entering into my first year of practicing being a Jew in community in this more formal way. But I do have a story about the first time I practiced Tashlich. It's a very personal story, so thank you for listening. And it actually, I'm realizing, was exactly 18 years ago. So it was Rosh Hashanah 18 years ago, and I know 18 is a sacred number. And I was in a place in my life, I had been in a relationship with someone, and it was an intimate relationship, and we were at a point where we were figuring out whether or not we were going to be going separate ways. And it looked like we were instead going to try to continue. But it was very clear to me that if we were going to try to continue, it had to be going forward in a new way. And I didn't want to be saying, and I don't think either one of us wanted to be saying yes to the way things had been. And when I heard about Tashlich and this idea of casting our mistakes and our harms out, I asked this person if they would join me in that ritual. This person wasn't Jewish, and they said yes, and we came to the Hudson River, and we did that, and it felt, I remember actually geese instantly coming and eating up the bread, and it felt like, it really did feel like a new beginning. And 10 days later, which was on Yom Kippur, even though the person didn't know it was Yom Kippur, he proposed marriage to me, and I said yes.
He proposed, is what she said. And she said yes.
Yay! And some of you got to meet him yesterday. So that's one way to do Tashlich. Somewhat happily So the other thing in preparation for this ritual that we're all going to be doing, which I know has two parts, it has both a casting of the bread, which is about letting go of things that we are ready to let go of and maybe rectifying them, and then also flowers, right? There are beautiful flowers will be here, and the flowers are there, which indicate moving forward in a way of hope and beauty. There is, you guys see, there is a word across the river, and the word says Lakawana. If you can't see it, it's okay. You'll probably see it when you go towards the water. The word is Lakawana.
Lakawana.
The word, I did not know the word Lakawana. I know it's a place somewhere in Pennsylvania, but it's also a Lenape. And
Lenape.
it's a whole other story about, but this word appeared on my phone randomly as I was trying to text my friend Ellie over there. The last day of August, I was at Newark Airport, and the word Lakawana appeared as if it was a bakul, as if it was a word from the heavens. So I looked it up, and Lakawana is a Lenape word, and it means fork in the stream, or the place in the stream where the stream forks. And there is a particular, I can think of many places in my own life where the stream has forked. But the first thing I thought of was Jacob. In Genesis, there's a story of Jacob. He is actually coming home after being away for a long time. And he is about to encounter brother Esau, to whom he has done great wrong and harm, he feels, and he was away for a long time, and he's with all of his family, and they're making their way back home, and they get to a place where the river forks, and they cross the first part of it, and then Jacob sends everybody else back over the other fork, and he stays in Lakawan. He stays in the place right in the middle of the fork, right? And the story has it that he, all night long, he wrestles with an angel, right? Whatever he was doing, he was wrestling before he could continue forward. Another way to translate that phrase that says, and a man wrestled with him, meaning the angel is a man. But another way to translate that is a man wrestled with himself. Right? So that brings us right back to this conversation about are you wrestling with God? Are you in this conversation with God, or is it really with your deepest self? But either way, maybe during these days of awe, we are in Lakawana. We are in that place where the stream forks, our road forks, the sky, whatever it is. And this casting of the bread and casting of the flowers is in some way a ritual around choice. It is about we always have forks. We always find ourselves at a fork, and there is some sort of intention to choosing the way. And so maybe as we do this, we're moving to this.
Beautiful. Thank you, Lizzie. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. And Audrey is holding a huge bouquet of wonderful things that are coming upon us. Grab some flowers from Audrey. And Susan, where's we got bread.
We have lots and lots of bread.
And my one suggestion, as you cast these things, especially the bread, because it can get very theoretical, these like what we did wrong and all that. If you can remember one moment this past year that you regret how you behaved, think of that and get rid of it. One thing. And if you can zone in on one thing that you really want this year, think about that when you're throwing the flowers. All right, here we go.
Come help me and do this side. They like it.
You have to throw far so it doesn't land. So you have to, yeah.
You remember?
I made it. You made it.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Here, take mine. Here, you need a
Actually, it's feeding.
I'm remembering my
It's
intention.
feeding the fish.
So many moments. How many moments can I say?
Fish love it.
I'll come with you.
Oh, we could get flowers and do the same. She's giving me flowers.
You know something? What do you eat?
My wife Jessie.
See, I've seen you. Nice to meet you. Yeah, I know I've seen you. Another event's great. This was a little microphone.
I need the rabbi. I need the rabbi. This is some of our favorite. I'm perfect. What's the meaning? What's the meaning? Hold on.
I kind of want to stick.
And me. Oh, you get your friend.
They do the whole thing. Yeah, sure. Do you want to throw for me?
You want me to throw this for you?
Yeah, well, here, I should throw my own.
Hold your camera.
It's very heavy. Oh.
How do I there?
Yeah, I gotta do this because
Yeah?
it's the kind of thing I can't really get in the water. Thanks.
Bye.
I'm finally gonna get the I did it!
Dance? I couldn't dance.
Day, 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 day. chance.